You know, it's not uncommon to hear people, often NI dominants themselves, talking about how they lament the fact that there's no NI dominant to be found in their circles, whether it's in their circle of friends, work colleagues, people they, are acquainted with in one way or another in their cities and their towns, wherever they might be. It's fairly common to hear people say, unfortunately, I don't know any INFJ, or I don't know any INTJ. More often, I don't know any INFJ. And statistically speaking, anti-dominants, of course, are rare, but they're not so rare that you're never going to run into them. You are going to run into them in some way or other. And it is likely that there will be a colleague, that there will be someone in school or in university, or a friend of a friend, or someone in your family, maybe more distant family, that will be an I-dominant. If you add up INFJs and INTJs, I think it would be fair to say that I-dominants comprise at least 5% of the population. Now, 5% is far from the majority, but it's still 5%, right? So just to take an example, someone who has, and I don't mean to imply anything with this example, this is just taken somewhat arbitrarily because I think that the analogy is revealing. If you take people who have an IQ over 130, right? 130 plus IQ, that's like, I think, between 1 and 2% of the population, right? So, in other words, people who have an IQ of 130 plus are in fact quite a bit rarer than people who are NI dominant, right? Now, of course, in the population of NI dominants, there are people who have an IQ of 130 plus, but that's beside the point. NI dominants are at least twice as numerous as people who have an IQ over 130. And I'm ready to bet that the same people who say that they don't know any dominants know at least one or two people who strike them as having an IQ over 130, which is basically the same as saying this person's very smart. So it is likely that you in fact know NI dominance. What is the reason why you think you don't? Okay? One reason why you think you don't is not that you're not good at picking them out, right? If you know that you're an NI dominant and you have a good, solid understanding of what this involves, it's likely that your powers of perception in this regard are sharper than average. But don't forget that a lot of NI dominants, particularly INFJs, because let's face it, interpersonally, their skins tends to be a little thinner than the skin of INTJs, on average, interpersonally. INFJs in the population of NI dominants tend to hide. They don't reveal their INFJ-ness. They don't reveal their NI dominance. Now, the majority of them, in fact, pretty much all of them that do this, that conceal their NI dominance, are not doing this consciously, much less doing this knowing that they are INFJ and that their intent is to conceal that they are INFJ. The majority will neither know that they are INFJ, even though they are, nor be aware that they're doing it. Now, some will be aware they're doing it, and others will just have this fuzzy notion that they are probably not showing the whole of their being to the world. They're doing this for protective reasons. They're doing it out of a certain kind of fear of the world. You know, there's a video that I recorded not too long ago, which is called Fear of the World, which I recommend you check out, where I talk about this discordance between the anti-dominance experience of being in the world, that is to say, the world as experienced subjectively through the prism of their inner representations, oceanic, fluid, viscous, and so on, without boundaries, fuzzy, contemplative, and the world itself as it is in itself. Right? So let's just forget about people who claim that there is no such thing as the world as it is in itself. Of course there is. Everyone has a pragmatic understanding of what it means. It's the physical world, it's the world of people, it's the world of rules, norms, life in society, and the natural world, you know, all of this making up the world as it is. Now this world is angular, this world has sharp edges, and in terms of going beyond space and looking at time in history, we're living in an era where, you know, regardless of what it was like in the past, I can't claim to know. You know, the historians have ideas in this regard, but the world as it is nowadays, and by the way, if you want to know more about this, about INFJ life in the world, to understand more about the NI dominant in the world, you should check out The Infinite Soul, my latest book, which is available at the first link below. Contrasts massively. It's like a big building block of concrete, which one has to adapt to in order to survive. Adaptation and flourishing as an NI dominant is possible. I've talked about how interstices provide a solution, but it's hard, and a lot of INFJs and some INTJs opt for what I describe as compliance with people in the case of INFJs, compliance with facts and objects in the case of INTJs, but nevertheless this amounts to a concealment of the social aspect of the expression of their NI, and so they come across as another type. And you need to be very keen to observe that there is really an NI dominant behind those layers of concealment. This concealment has a protective aim. Of course, it falls short of individuation, of what I call, in the case of NI, leads spiritualization, but it is seen as vital by the particular NI dominant at that particular moment. And so don't be too quick to assume and to judge that there is no hope and that you don't know any NI dominance in your environment. Be patient and be curious to explore more about some of the people in your environment that maybe at some point you wondered whether they might be. Maybe the evidence they gave that they weren't deserves to be scrutinized once again. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget you can support me on Patreon. Need you more than ever, guys. There's been a few of you joining lately. I'm so grateful for this. I need more of you to support me to keep going with this channel. You know that you get cool perks like access to a now solid library of deep dive videos that are exclusive to Patreon supporters. So if you want to access those for even more good stuff, longer stuff by myself, join our Patreon. There's also the Discord server where you can interact with me and others pretty much on a daily basis. It's really good there. It's called The Fourfold. So join today. And don't forget that you can also get my first book on the INFJ, if you haven't yet, The Ecstatic Soul, which is all about the inner world of the INFJ, the mind and consciousness. This is more about the outer world. All links below. Thank you, guys, and talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.